And then, we don't really need to chat about second and third. I feel like it's just the other contenders. So looking at Adelaide then in the multis, obviously this market is without Rory Laird. Rowie has gone with Ben Keys. I've also gone with Ben Keys. So, Rowie, why are you backing in Ben Keys? I think he's $1.95 at the moment.
I just love Ben Keys. I don't know. He's like one of those blokes, I don't know. He's one of those blokes I just froth. So I don't know. I just like him and obviously hate Tex. So huge reason to go Keys over him. But yeah, Tex will probably only poll, 3 in the first 3 and then not anymore. So, Keys has got, probably about 20, 23 games to work with. So yeah, I just think he's projected to have a few good ones. He had a few outstanding games. He got like 150, 60 Supercoach points. So you expect him to get some in there and just, throw in hopefully some 1 or 2 voters. But yeah, I just expect him to outscore Tex.
Yeah, I had Keys as well. Obviously, like statistically prefer inside midfielders, but the only worry for Keys is that like he's not necessarily the biggest name because who does the votes? Is it the umpires?
Yeah.
Yeah, I always get confused because different sports, it's different people. But
Yeah,
he's probably like a less of a big name than some of the other guys who, if there's a game where no one really stood out, they might just go, oh, we'll give it to Dusty or, oh, we'll give it to Bont, where Keys is probably not benefiting from stuff like that, where those votes would probably go to Laird or even like Sloan when he plays well. So that is my only issue. But yeah, I'm with you there, Roy. I think he'll just pick up enough 1 and 2 voters. Pilch, you've gone with the big Tex. I assume you're from the standpoint that like his early lead will just be too big to chase down.
Yeah, I just don't think Keys will get enough votes. It'll be close, but just the fact Adelaide didn't win many games, Laird will take most of the threes when they do get up. So just don't think Keys will quite make the double-digit figure.
Yeah, fair enough. All right, on to Brisbane. Pilch, and you both had Lions, not the Brisbane Lions, Jared Lyons. He's the favourite pretty clearly. Pilch, do you reckon this one's a given, or do you reckon it's actually closer than people think?
I think it'll be close with Zorko, but I think Lions deserves it. But he is underrated, less of a big name, so I'm not convinced he'll actually win it. But if I was given even odds, I would take him.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, I think he's paying $1.40, so he's pretty short. But yeah, Zorko's $8.50. He's my pick. I do think what I sort of said
games
about.
did he miss?
I think he only missed
one.
I think around the bye area. Yeah, because I think he missed the suspension backing onto the bye or something like that. And
it's insane value.
But yeah, I reckon $8.50 is legit good because when Neil went down, him and McCluggage sort of just stepped up, and then for the rest of the season, Zorko was really, really good. So yeah, I'm very shocked at the $8.50 value, especially because I feel like he's sort of a more well-known player and maybe more impactful than Jared Lyons. But yeah, I don't know what the umpires use, like if they look at disposals and goals or something, because yeah, if they look at disposals, Jared Lyons will probably just pocket 1 or 2 every single week and it will get him the job done. McCluggage also mentioned by someone, I think maybe Hoodie. I think McCluggage will start well, and then I think he might fall away. I don't think he had the greatest end to the season, where I think Lyons and Zorko will be able to pick up votes throughout the whole thing. Then Collingwood, one of the more interesting ones, I reckon. Pilch has gone with Chris, but the Brownlow predictor has Adams.
Skip the Blues.
We'll come back to the Blues, but the Brownlow predictor has Adams, as do I, and then the rest of the boys that we have their results have gone to Goey. So Rowie, why do you think De Goey will be getting this one?
Honestly, I don't know. I just sort of went off some predictors and just sort of factored in what I reckon will happen. But I think De Goey's end of season, when he moved to the midfield, he dominated a few games. He got like 25, 30. Just, he had it on his own string and then ended up kicking a few as well when he went forward. And those type of games always stand out to umpires. So I guess that might be the reason why. If maybe Collingwood had won a few more games, I might say Crisp, just because he was obviously a lot more consistent throughout the whole year. But just given they didn't win as many, they're not going to be getting as many votes. Hence, it's more likely that someone that, someone like De Goey will overtake a more consistent player like Crisp. So I guess that was my reasoning. But yeah.
Yeah, I definitely reckon someone like De Goey is like a lot more noticeable, like sort of like Stringer,
Yeah.
like Dusty. Even if they have only 20 touches, where Adams might have 35, like De Goey's still probably a sniff at getting votes over Adams. Pilch, you went with Crispy Boy. He's paying $8, which I do think is value. Do you reckon he's a genuine chance of this one? Well, you've obviously picked him, so you do, but why do you reckon that?
Yeah, once again, that sounds like value. I just think he had the most consistent year out of all their midfielders. Adams missed a few games and didn't even have his best year. So I think Grundy might be a sniff as well. I think it'll be close between them four, to be honest. So, but yeah, I just think Crisp.
Yeah, I feel like
Will.
these are the teams that always trip people up. Like, they don't have many wins. There's not really a standout player. Like, it's going to be tough because, it's probably not going to be many votes, the eventual winner. And, this is sort of like I think it was Jager O'Meara of 2019 or something, the Hawthorn market that everyone got wrong. This will be a tricky one, I reckon. De Goey is playing at $1.60, so not value, but if you obviously think he's going to get the job done, he's a fair choice. But yeah, I think Adams is interesting that the Brownlow predictors got him and he's only 320. I found that to be quite interesting. And then, we'll go back to Carlton. Most of you boys had Harry Mackay. Pilcher's back Cripps in, and I actually had Wiedering, which is a little bit interesting. Rarely a key backman picks up many Brownlow votes. He's paying $15 as well, so very good value, but it's just a matter of whether he can get the votes done. But Rowie, do you reckon Mackay's serious value at $2.40 there?
I reckon so. Obviously Walsh will poll tons, but I reckon, Coleman medal, he had a few games where he kicked bags, so I guess it's hard for anyone else to take votes off him because, Cripps had a pretty poor year and, I just don't think Wiedering's going to get many votes, to be honest. And I can't see Ed Kerno either. I think he was one of the other ones that was up there. So, I just think all eyes will turn to Harry Mackay. It's the tall forward playing a good game is the easiest position on the ground to notice. So, that's just why I went him.
Yeah, I don't agree with it in terms of like he might get 2 votes, and I don't think he was the second best player in the park. But yeah, I definitely think you're right there because it's a tiring game. The umpire's thinking about it, and like if the blokes kicked 4 goals or something, and it's been a pretty average game, which most of the Carlton ones were. I can't see why they wouldn't just give him votes, sort of just out of necessity when you kick that many goals. So yeah, that one looks like value at 240, even though Pilch and I don't agree. You could also maybe put a buck on Cripps as well, just in case Mackay doesn't get up, because you can do that obviously because they're both above $2. Then on to Essendon. This is a weird one. We all went Parish, paying $1.50, but then Pilch decided to change it up. The only one who didn't back in Parish. Did notice you said this a few weeks ago. You went with Merritt. So obviously you're just not high on Parish at all.
Not really. Although I kind of wanted to be a bit, not just follow the pack with these picks, but Merritt did have a more consistent season. So I don't know. Parish will definitely have a few 3 voters, but I can see it being pretty close.
Yeah, and I can see that actually. And Essendon were in a lot of close games, so usually if someone's like just consistently decent, their team doesn't win many games, it doesn't get them much, but Essendon actually were in a lot of them, so yeah, he could pick up a lot of 1s and 2s. For me, I just think Parish's 3 voters will get him over the line, but obviously that's a matter of opinion. Merritt paying $2.35, so probably not the value you want. But obviously, as I mentioned before, if that's who you genuinely believe is going to get the job done, you back him in. Then next, this is an interesting one. Mundy's paying $1.08. And not all of us went Mundy, which maybe puts a bit of doubt in people's heads because for that value, you're wanting a guarantee. Moz went with Brayshaw. I went with Sean Darcy. But Rowie, do you think Mundy's a certainty?
Oh, I don't think he's certainty, but I still reckon he's a very good chance. I mean, I think, we talked about, I don't know how long ago, but he just had a really good stretch of games. I think more so to the start of the year where he just was unstoppable. So, yeah, it is a midfielder's award, as we all say. I know I just contradict what I just said about Harry Mackay, but, it is a midfielder's award at the end of the day. And in those Freo games, that was like before the Sean Darcy surge, so I can't see many people taking votes off him. So, yeah, I'll be back in Monday, but probably won't put him into multis, given I don't want to put in given he's no certainty, given he's short of $1.10. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting one because, as you mentioned, he's going to come out the gates hot. Could even lead the Brownlow, actually, at about round 8 or 9. And then the boys are just going to be... The boys are going to come flying, Brayshaw and Darcy. Darcy's paying $21, so that'd be a pisser if that got up. Brayshaw paying $6, so probably not even that bad value. Yeah, I'd probably steer clear of Freo. Because although a lot of people think it's a certainty, I just don't think $1.08 is worth it, really. Is that really adding that much value for that risk? And then next we had a sure thing, except for me, which doesn't really change much. It's essentially still a sure thing because mine doesn't really matter. Guthrie paying $1.08. I had Stewart paying about $26, but yeah, I don't think we need to talk about that one, really. You boys are backing Guthrie, consistent player. Pretty much picks up 30, 35 every week. So I definitely reckon he'll be accumulating there. I love Tommy Stewart, and I reckon he's a very noticeable player, but I feel like the umpires, when they're watching things like kickouts and stuff, they don't give a shit about that, where that's something that my formula takes into account and Supercoach does as well. So yeah, I feel like it's not a Backman's award, this one. Then Gold Coast, another interesting market. I would say Anderson's pretty bad value at $1.40, considering that I think 3 of us didn't go with him. However, you boys did. Pilch, how do you feel about the Gold Coast market?
Absolutely no idea.
Yeah.
I was trying to think outside the box and just no one sprung to mind. So I just went Anderson, just because the other options were just even worse than Anderson is, who's pretty bad.
And to be honest, though, that could be the umpire's train of thought. So you could be onto a winner there. But yeah, the other people who got mentioned, Ellis got picked twice, who's paying $4. I'll be honest, I haven't watched much of the Gold Coast, so I don't know. I was a bit surprised to see that, but if he's $4, people must be liking it. I actually had Lukosius, who's at about $16. I don't even think that one's outrageous. I think it's value. I don't know if it will happen. Once again, this is probably a pretty low scoring market. So yeah, this is another tough one. Probably one to steer clear of in the multis. However, next we've got the first sure thing. Josh Kelly paying $1.25. Everyone, there was about 6 or 7 of us put it in. All of us backed him in, as well as the Brownlow predictor. I'll probably look at this on Sunday night and be thinking, why did I say this? But I think we can take this one to the bank. I think if 7 of us agree, I'm willing to say it's going to happen. $1.25 is it's not value, but for certainty, you're making money. So yeah, it's an interesting one that we all agreed on that one because Jacob Hopper made the All-Australian team and stuff like that. So maybe it's actually more competitive than we're thinking. Rowie, do you reckon that's true, or not? Do you reckon this is a given?
Oh, probably given. Yeah, I don't really see anyone else taking him off him. I think Taranto will poll. I think Taranto was second in line, but can't see him catching Kelly.
Yeah, I think I had Kelly out by a fair distance. Then I had Taranto, and then just below them I had Green and Hopper. But yeah, for me it's Kelly, and obviously the umpires will include the fact that he's a sexy motherfucker in their voting. Onto Hawthorn. As I mentioned before, this is always one of the toughest. One of my winners, I had a 3-way tie. One of them isn't even in the market. So that just shows how up in the air this one is. I think for me, the winners only had 3 votes. So this is really a shit fight. And one of them was Johnny Segler, because I had him getting a 3-vote performance in round 18 or something. The favourite is Jager O'Meara. Pilch has gone O'Meara. Rowie, you've actually gone Wingard at $2.25. What was your thinking behind that one?
I think he just came home really strong at the end of the year. He got put into the midfield a bit more. He's one of those flashy players that the umps notice. And Hawks won a few games at the end of the year. So I think he was one of the strong performers in those games. So I think O'Meara performed well in a lot of games when Hawks didn't. So yeah, so I've gone Wingard.
Yeah, apologies. I just realised I have not been mentioning who the markets don't include, but yeah, if you're interested in this, you probably know who it doesn't include anyway. Yeah, I also had Blake Hardwick tied for mine, but he's $101, so you'd argue value, but yeah, he's a backman who's pretty mythical. I don't think an umpire would name him if they had the opportunity. So yeah, but there were quite a few Wingards in there, and interestingly, the Brownlow predictor has O'Meara and Wingard tied. So yes, and then moving on to Melbourne, another one that we think is a sure thing, and it's actually better value than Kelly. We all have Oliver. He's paying $1.30, which I'm actually surprised at considering he's in the Brownlow conversation. I don't think I've really heard Petrarca mentioned, apart from maybe a top 5 chance. So I'm a bit surprised he's $1.30. Pilch, are we taking that one to the bank?
No.
Oh. You can't be putting down minds, mate.
No, I said Oliver, but if you look at my top 3, I'm pretty sure I put Oliver second, Petrarca third.
Yeah, you did.
So I'm predicting a tight one between them two.
I will say though, however, every other person and the predictor had Oliver in their top 3, and Petrarca made no one else's. So that does refill my confidence a little bit. But yeah, it is dangerous just because Petrarca is so good. And as we keep mentioning, his touches are very noticeable, very impactful. But, you know, the umps in and around near the ball, they're surely seeing the Ranger hair flying around, getting nut. And surely he gets like 10 votes for his game against Adelaide. So, yes, but fair play to Clover. On to North. Another interesting one, I'd have to say. You boys have both backed in Cunners, so as the predictor, and he's $1.50. I've got a tie between Cunners and Zeeble. Zeeble being a backman, pretty relevant. He's paying $51. Jai Simpkin, however, $2.40, which is an interesting one. I'm backing in Cunners here because why not? He's a hard nut. But yeah, at the end of the day, this is probably going to be another low voter because it is North Melbourne. Then we've got Port Adelaide without Wines or Boak, which I think is a bit of a dog act. Just like I don't like taking out 2 blokes. Come on, but anyway, now this one was an interesting one. Amon's paying $1.18. The people who didn't back that in was Moz and me, which seems to be a bit of a trend. So maybe just take the others' opinions. I had Aliir tying with Amon. Aliir is paying $5. So I think that's not bad value, to be honest. I think he had a lot of good games, and he's noticeable. So yeah, Pilch, do you think? Actually, no, I won't ask. I'll ask you because you are a Port Adelaide fan. Do you think Karl Amon was the clear winner here?
Yeah, I don't really think he'll poll that well, but I think behind Boak and Wines, it's always a different bloke who steps up for us. Like, we got quite an even spread, so I think we'll have heaps of blokes who just pick up 1, 2 or 3 votes for the season. So I can't see anyone contending with Amon.
Yeah, mine was very close. I think I had like 6 or 7 blokes within a couple of votes of each other. I do think Aliir's value at $5. I think he had a really, well, everyone thinks he had a really good season. Moz has gone Dixon. His big value at $21, but yeah, I don't think Dixon kicked enough goals to, you know, get those votes that like a Harry Mackay will get when they don't know who to give votes to. 5 to go. We're up to Richmond. Everyone's backed in Dusty Martin here, which is pretty incredible considering he missed like the last 6 or 7 games. He's paying $1.10. I've gone Jack Graham, obviously, because I'm a cooker. He's paying about $15. Rowie, are you pretty confident on the Dusty?
Yeah, I don't think anyone will overtake Dusty. I don't think he had too many standouts this year, Richmond. So, yeah, I think it's a pretty sure thing, that one.
Yeah, and like, as we keep mentioning, impactful player, one of the most noticeable players in the competition. And sometimes reputation precedes people, especially in voting. So, yeah, if it's sort of like a tie between 3 people, Shai Bolton, Liam Baker, and Dusty, you know, they're giving Dusty the 3. So, yeah, I reckon that one will be a pretty low voter, but yeah, I can see why everyone's backing in Dusty. St Kilda, without Steele, obviously. This one's like a dead tie between the boys. Rowie and I went with Dunstan. Pilch has gone with Crouch, and the Brownlow predictors got Dunstan. Dunstan's the favourite at $1.80. Crouch is the favorite, runner up at $2.80. Rowie is the St Kilda fan. What are your thoughts here?
I had Dunstan, and then I had Zach Jones. Actually, I reckon Zach Jones is maybe a sneaky chance at some value. He had probably 1 or 2 3-game voters, 3-vote gamers, sorry, and maybe a couple where he got a couple. So yeah, I don't know. I reckon he's a better chance than Crouch to overtake Dunstan, but we'll see. It's funny to think that Dunstan doesn't have a contract now, but
yeah, I know, that would be so weird if he actually does win this market, and everyone will be thinking he had a gun season or whatever, and he's a free agent. But surely it would give him a sniff of getting another contract if he does do well on the Brownlow night. But yeah, I think I was actually with you, Rowie. I think I had Zach Jones ahead of Brad Crouch, and I think I might have had Dougal Howard ahead of both of them. But as I keep saying, backmen don't get votes. 3 to go, Sydney. This is an interesting. Is it really? I don't know. I think everyone's gone with Parker except for me. So once again, ignore my thing. Parker's about $1.50. I've gone with Millsy, $2.50. I think Mills is a sniff. I feel like there's a lot of games where they both get pretty similar stat lines, and it's sort of just who you like more. But yeah, Pilch, are you backing in Lukey boy?
Yeah, I think Mills cost himself this award by missing the last 2 to 3 games, because I actually think he had a better year than Parker. But yeah, also Parker's the bigger name, so when in doubt, go with the bigger name.
But wasn't he out because he was at a COVID exposure site?
Yeah.
Yeah, stiff to be
bumming him there. It wasn't a bumming, mate.
No, you said you let him. He cost himself the award, but nah, fair enough. Yeah, fair. I didn't actually factor that in, but that could hurt Mills. The Brownlow predictor has it as a tie, actually, which is interesting. So that could be a bit of a squeaky bum time, that one. I don't know how Parker went on the last couple, but yeah, if it comes down to those ones where Mills misses out and he has like a 1 or 2 vote lead, that could be pretty saucy. West Coast, this is a pretty open one. They don't really have a clear standout apart from Nick Nat, but Ruckman don't get votes. So the main contenders are Sheed, Kelly, and Gaff. Sheed's paying $2.30. Kelly's paying $2.85. Gaff's paying $3.75. Gaff is actually the favourite on the AFL.com Brownlow predictor. Rowie's gone with Kelly, and Pilch has gone with Sheed. I've obviously gone with my boy Shannon Hearn, but he was not in the market, so not sure how that affects your multis if you could try and stick him in. But Rowie, what did you think when you were making the West Coast call?
Well, I visited like about 2 or 3 different sites. They all had different people winning it, so I thought, okay, here's a chance to find a bit of value. But I just reckon, Tim Kelly's dominant games are really noticeable. So that's really the only reason I win it. So yeah.
What's the thinking? Because I've never done these multis before, but like when there's one that's wide open, are they the ones you like more, or are they the ones you sort of look to steer clear of?
No, like because there's always value in it. I guess you've just got to sort of map out of like 3 or 4 predictors and find out, I guess like the average and like the worst case scenario and best case scenario for every player, and then just find out the best chance is of getting one. So yeah, I don't know. It's like you don't steer clear from them. You probably steer clear more of the other ones just because they don't offer too much value. And I know it's all happened, but anything can happen on Brownlow night. So it's just like a real game of footy. You don't really want to put in like $1.05 leg into your multi. So yeah.
Yeah, and then finally onto the doggies without Bont or McRae. This one's interesting. Like I reckon this is a bit of arbitrage betting for you, as they say. Libba and Baz Lenker, when I took down the odds, both above $2. Libba 220, Baz 250. We were pretty much split down the middle, most of us. Pilch has gone Libba, I've gone Libba, Rowie's gone Smith, the Brownlow predictor's gone Smith. However, the third favourite is Treloar on about $10. So if you're confident that someone's not coming from range and stealing this crown, you could just put $1 on both or however much you want and you'd be profiting. But yeah, anyways, that's just the business. The finance man talking. The Filch, I was actually surprised you went liver, to be honest. I thought you weren't a fan of Libba's work, but do you reckon Libba wins easily here?
Yeah, I actually do. I think Bonton McRae will obviously steal all the votes, but I don't think Baslenka had that good a year up until maybe the last 2 games and then finals where he went to another level. But obviously they don't count, so I can't really see Smith winning it.
Yeah, I think if it's done on who's the best player each week, Libba wins easily. My only concern is, despite his tats and stuff, I don't think his work's that noticeable, like the inside handballs, whereas Baslenka, a bit more of an outside player during the regular season anyway. He's, obviously Baslenka with the mullet, a lot more noticeable. So that's my only concern with this one. But yeah, if it's just... Yeah, I'm scared of the mullet. But yeah, I just think Liver's first 10 weeks, like, I reckon he will genuinely contest with the Bonton McRae for their votes in that period. He does get tagged pretty much from then on, so he might go voteless from about the bye rounds to the rest of the season. But yeah, that'll be an interesting one because I imagine that Libba will go out to a pretty big lead and then, the other guys will start chasing him down. That could be an interesting one, though, because it could be pretty low votes considering it's without Bonton McRae. Because without those guys, they're taking most of the big voters. But, yeah.
It's a miracle! Oh, yeah! What about that one? Unbelievable! Balotelli! Aguero! Crowd cheers. Here's Siddle.